take a deep breath. And relax. Take another deep breath. And relax. And take another deep breath. And relax. And take a couple of minutes and ask yourself, deeply and truly, what do I want? Which really equals the question, why am I here? And see what comes up. Just let whatever arises, arise. Just make contact with yourself through this inquiry, through these coordinates of that question. What do I want? It can either be a very casual and perverted question, all about self, or it can be a profound and true question. There's many princes and princesses out there that ask themselves what they want all day long. What do I want? What do I want now? What do I want now? And that has its merits up to the age of about 7 or 8. But I don't think you guys are 7 or 8. So now the question can drop in more deeply. It can become more one-pointed. What do I want? Why am I here? And just connecting to that frequently will cleanse you. If you let it. And as Ra says, silence of self is key. Can you actually be quiet with yourself? It's a lost art. And often God tries to push us in that direction. By means of catalyst. Because we talk about surrender quite a bit, right? But surrender is not a story. Surrender is a giving up, aka silence of the self. Surrender is the state where you are not. Where something else remains fully present. It's like opening a door. An opening is not a thing. It's the absence of the rest of the thing. A doorway is not a thing, it's literally a hole in the wall. We call it a doorway only because of the big wall around it. If there's no wall whatsoever, you wouldn't see a door. You wouldn't call it a doorway. A doorway literally is nothing. You got to become like the doorway. If surrender is something you desire. Until there's no wall and no doorway and no self. So painting the word surrender on the wall is not the same as creating an opening. Maintaining openness of spirit, of mind. There's a natural, joyful, formless presence that remains when you don't do the thing you do, which you call you. Just a thing you do. It's not really you. It's just a thing you do. And the vast majority of this thing that you do, that you think of as you, is in the form of thinking, storytelling, describing experiences. Humanity's #1 addiction. From the point of view of your higher self, your spirit, your true self, not the word spirit, not the light in the sky spirit, not the blue sphere in your meditation spirit, the actual formless, death-like spirit of pure life essence. Doesn't have a color, doesn't have an audible sound, doesn't have a word, doesn't have a beautiful download for you. It doesn't have the next level progression of yourself. No, it is pure, absolute, naked, formless, empty, pristine, indescribable essence of all experience. And as long as you describe your next experience and your next experience, whether mentally or verbally, whether to self, like a soliloquy, or to others, like a dialogue or a barrage of words, for exactly that long, you will not know the formless essence of being. So stay empty. If you're curious, if you actually in this life right now desire to know God, not through the words of a teacher or the words on a page or the words in your mind or the beautiful spiritual descriptions you've pasted onto your prison wall. You can color a picture on your prison wall of the outside, the outdoors, beautiful mountains and river streams and enlightened beings. And you can all of that paint that on the wall, the indoor walls of your prison. It's not going to make you breathe in fresh air. It's not the same thing at all. In fact, it keeps you imprisoned by describing it as divine, as pure, as authentic, as loving, as free, as beautiful. If you sentenced yourself to imprisonment by your own choice for life, then by all means, do your best to describe everything as beautifully as you can. Because you're going to be in this prison for the rest of your life by your own admission. By your own will, by your own choice. You have decided that you are the small self, that you should assert yourself or protect yourself or acquire things for yourself or secure yourself. If that is the sentence you've given yourself, and you've not given it for a few years, you've given it for life, you've already accepted that this is your sentence, given by self, then yes, by all means, paint mountains and river streams and clear blue skies on the inside walls of your prison, because then that's the best thing you've got. But if you actually desire to know freedom and God and true purity, and you have a genuine connection to this idea of surrender, however that might translate for you, but that core feeling of surrender, that core desire, then we got to see through the fact that our description of the mountains is just painting on the wall. The walls haven't changed. Only we've painted over it again and again and again, keeping ourselves occupied and entertained while in prison. Now again, if you are determined to not exit prison, then please do buy more paint. Keep on painting. You don't have any other option anyway. But if you want true freedom, you gotta not be afraid to strip the walls of their paint and see them for the prison that they are. If you're scared of that, you'll keep painting over it. You keep painting over it. You keep describing over it. And as soon as you kind of dare to muster up the courage out of this intense desire, perhaps for surrender, for God, for freedom, for liberation, for true self-knowledge, you begin to grab that sponge and wipe away this self-painted illusion of stories and delusions and descriptions and deflections and justifications and articulations and reasons and strategies and defense mechanisms and desires and preferences and biases and belief systems and perspectives and politics and New Age. And you grab that sponge and you start wiping off those stories. Yes, what you will initially see is the walls of your own mind. It'll become painfully apparent to you that this was just a story covering up the fear of seeing the wall as a prison. But instead of then quickly repainting over it, Perhaps even with the story of, oh, I surrendered because I wiped away a small portion of my self-allotted painting, my self-attributed story. I had a breakthrough. No, you didn't. The wall is still in place. And you were too afraid to face it, so you cover it up again and again and again and again. And then life encourages you. It knocks on your wall. It tempts you to see it's just a wall, it's not a real mountain. Where's that knock coming from? How come the skies and the mountain and the stream is knocking? And that knock of God reveals it's still just a wall with a painting on it, and you're still inside the walls by your own choice, by your own admission, by your own self-sentencing. And you hear that knock and you get curious and you investigate and you get a little bit closer to this painting of the mountain and the clear blue skies and this beautiful spiritual stream with fairies dancing around it and angels descending, giving you downloads and whatever else you want to paint. And then the closer you get to that knock of God, knocking on the outside of that wall, investigating where that sound's coming from. What is this sense, this feeling, this calling for freedom, for surrender, for true one-pointedness, for surrendering myself to that stream of the Creator? And as you put your ear closer to that wall, you start to see you're not actually out there in the mountains and the streams and the sunshine. It's just a painting the mind, a description given to you to things. And you rediscover it's actually a wall. You feel this threshold and this barrier, and you freak out or you get excited. Those are your two options. You get scared or you get excited. You embrace the opportunity, or you resort or retort or retard back to your self-sentence or life. If you've sentenced yourself to life in some belief system of yours, if you believe you can't be free, or you're not allowed to be free, or you don't deserve to be free, or it's not safe to be free, if you have any of those bullshit, bogus ideas that are nothing but little thought vibrations which you entertain, God does not, your true self does not, then, yes, you will fear seeing through the illusion of your own descriptions and being faced with the wall of your limiting belief. But that is the only way to create this true hole in the wall, this true doorway or opening, which allows you to exit prison. But not if you keep repainting over it and then believing in what you have been painting. So the description of awareness is not awareness. A description of God is not God. A picture of freedom is not freedom. A belief in a preferred reality is not reality. So don't fool yourselves, my friends. I'm holding you to a high standard. Really, it's a low standard because it's the only standard, which is you're either free or you're not. And you are free or not by your own conviction, by your own choice. So surrender to God is not a picture that you paint on the inside of your mental walls. Surrender is not a description. It's not a perspective. It is not a belief. It is not an experience. Because experience needs descriptions. Surrender is the absence of all that by virtue of your own will. It's the emptiness of that to create a true doorway into the self by means of absence of the little self. How do you do this? It's the wrong question to ask. If you have to ask that question, you don't really desire the answer. However, I'll give you one anyway. you shut up. Surrender is the act of shutting up as deeply and profoundly and completely as you can. That's the only way to do surrender. If you don't know exactly what it is, what it means, what you should surrender, how to surrender, again, those questions are the wrong questions, and they indicate a lack of desire for this. Because whatever you truly desire will present itself to you. The access will be right there. The door will open. Those walls will disappear if you but desire it enough. So if you don't, then the only way you can do surrender is by shutting up entirely, as intensely and as consistently and as full-heartedly as you can. This will create a doorway in the membrane of your own mind, the bubble, the condom that you wear over your head, that you've been blowing up for your entire life. Within the bubble, you cannot do anything to pop the bubble except have a desire so strong that the bubble pops naturally and there's no question about how. Or if you're not at that stage yet, for whatever reason, if you really believe you don't deserve it, you're not able, you're not capable, or it's scary to do so, you're still protecting something, a little bubble self, then there's nothing you can do within this bubble to pop the bubble except shut up as deeply, profoundly, and completely as you can. Silence of self is key. Intense silence of self. Intensely present silence of self, maintained for extended periods of time. And it doesn't need to be long. If it's a true, genuine moment, the walls will disappear instantaneously. But if you still have a background story running that you're entertaining that hasn't shut up yet, just shut that up too. And then the walls will disappear. You will know true surrender when it's a formless, non-experience, non-descriptive knowing, gnosis. Pure being. Blissful pure being. Without the beauty and the light and the love and the things and the this and the that and the trinkets and the angels and the reasons why and the breakthroughs. No, just formless, indescribable, experiential beyond another experience, changeless, openness, with no assertion of self polluting the space of God. No belief, no vantage point, no advantage, no agenda. Surrender is the most radical act that a deluded little blindfolded bubble entity can perform. And again, it's either attained through intense desire that cannot be faked, or through a complete stoppage of all mental activity. The first Yoga Sutra of the Sutras of Patanjali is, this is the dissertation of yoga, this is the expounding of yoga, this is the explanation of yoga. The second sutra is, yoga is the cessation of the activity or modifications of the mind stuff. Yoga, meaning union, surrender, attainment, freedom, is the cessation of the modification of the mind stuff. In other words, stop or shut up. Could have been shut up. Sutra number 2. Yoga is shut the fuck up. Just shush. That is yoga, my friends. It's got nothing to do with a beautiful posture. It's got nothing to do with a vegan diet. It's got nothing to do with your crystal salt lamps. It doesn't even have anything to do with your story about your surrender. Yoga is shut up. Then you have a chance to attain, to recognize what remains, which is not an experience. You could say it's a direct experience, but it's not an experience of any kind. It doesn't have a form that you can then use again to paint onto the walls to make yourself feel better. If you truly penetrate this, you won't need anything to make you feel better, because you'll feel better than you ever have in your entire imprisonment life. This is God's wish for you. All you need to do is desire it above all else. Not think you do, not fake it. Because if you really do, you have it. So if you don't have it, you don't really want it yet. And that's okay. Then the next best option is to become empty of self, completely quiet, not as a concept, but as a radical, in this here and now moment act of stoppage. Stop yourself. You're a train wreck. Stop it. Nothing good will come of you. Stop you. And all will be realigned by the power of an intelligence that's not an experience. Story time is over, my 8-year-old friend. It's time to stand on your own independent nature. I would say 2 feet, but it's only 1. Stop fearing your self-nature. Stop hiding out in experiences and descriptions. Just stop. Cut the crap. Pull the emergency brake on the train wreck of your own mind. That is the only act of surrender you can commit. All else is more description. Inevitably, you can have the most beautiful, profound description of surrender. You can have read all my books. In the future, there'll be a few maybe. You can understand it perfectly, like have a complete, clear conceptual understanding of surrender. You can tell everyone how surrendered you are, how all in you are, how you're all about God or surrender, or freedom, liberation, union with the Creator. And none of that, literally none of that, is true. Not one bit. None of that story is any more holy than catching the rat in your kitchen and eating it. You're fooling yourself. The only thing more true than any of that is when you stop. That is surrender. Doesn't require any understanding. Just requires will and desire. That's the gift you can give to God and thus yourself. Find out what remains when you stop. Because it's even logical if you think about it. When you stop all that you think of as you, all that you've come to know as you, all that you believe and feel and think and fear and desire as you, all that you've ever labeled or thought of as you, which makes up your entire worldview, doesn't it? Your entire experience is made up by you. When you stop this, the only thing that can remain has to be true. True existence. The true God. You won't find it in any of your religious books. You won't find it by fighting other religions for it. You'll find it when your mind shuts up deliberately, not because you go to sleep, or because you drink yourself to death, or because you escape in some other kind of substance or numbing agent. You will know God when you deliberately, pristinely, vividly, presently, awakenedly, clearly, lucidly, willingly stop all thoughts. When your whole beingness screams to itself, enough is the fuck enough. And you stay put in the absence of yourself. Now, true formless existence will reveal itself to you, will take you back into the fold, back home. So please cut out all this religious and spiritual bullcrap. Nobody knows God except those who deliberately and lucidly give up their minds. And if you notice any hesitation or fear for that, shut that up too. Or don't. Sentence yourself to life in prison if you want. That is your gift, a gift given to you by God, your Father, who art in heaven. It's called free will. It's both your liberation and your self-sentencer, your own judge and executioner. It's also your liberator. If this is too much for you, and just keep resting in awareness. Eventually we'll accomplish the same stream meeting the ocean union. You don't have to go the radical route of stopping yourself, surrendering yourself. It is more immediate. But you might be invested in the paintings on your wall. You may still really believe that they represent the outdoors, the true outdoors, or the true fulfillment, or your true counterpart, or whatever it might be that you paint onto the walls of this mind, without which you are perfectly fine, perfectly happy, perfectly blissful, by nature. By nature. It's your natural state. It's a pure you without the additives, without the dilutants, the pollutants. defilements, the distortions, the amusements. Now, when you're 8 years old, you'd love nothing more than to go to an amusement park and amuse yourself. It makes sense. But as you grow up, you can't be bothered to drive there, buy a ticket, be slung around in a roller coaster, get nauseous. It's just not that interesting anymore. And if it happens, it happens, and you have fun. You throw your hands up in the air, you get a silly picture, you have a good time with your family. But you wouldn't go out of your way to go visit an amusement park. It doesn't keep you up at night. Oh my God, I can't wait. Next week we're going to Six Flags. It makes sense when you're 8. But you're not. Some of you are reaching the end of the line. No offense, old farts. I'm on your side. I'm in your corner. That's why I speak the way that I do. You will thank me for it at some point. Exactly when you know you won't need to thank me for it and understand why you don't need to thank me for it, you'll thank me for it. So what do you want? It's a daunting question. You are so loved, and God can't stand the sight of you not loving yourself. It's literally, from a more enlightened perspective, watching humans, or whether they're friends or not, but let's say your friends, your family, those closest to you. It's quite literally like watching them take out a gun and shoot themselves in the foot multiple times a day. Just picture that. The stupidity of it. The lack of self-love in it. Ow, fuck. And then they do it again. That's the both funny and disastrous sad part. The saddest and funniest part to God is that we then shoot ourselves in the foot again. Same foot, for Christ's sake. Same fucking foot. At least, give it some time to heal. Shoot the other foot. No, same fucking foot, same gun. Right after you just shot yourself in the foot. You think you learn. And we glorify it, and we paint the bullet shells into beautiful colors of spirituality and Shambhala. And then we take that beautiful Shambhala painted bullet and we shoot ourselves in the same fucking foot, in the same exact way that we did just 10 minutes earlier. This is kind of what it's like from the point of view of the field, which is nothing but love and formless bliss, intelligence, true consciousness. And seeing all the little waves in this ocean, all the little vibrations, the little entities in this ocean, keep themselves small by their own descriptions. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes, if you will, and ask yourself again, why am I here? What do I truly want?